This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm HiddenXperia, also known as Luke.
Yes, we could be calling you Luke, but for some reason I keep referring
to this time. Yeah.
Well, I would ask you to tell everybody about your channel, but we're about to ask you a ton of questions, so I don't know if it even... You can. We can throw it out there if you want.
Okay, well, for those who don't know, I currently run a Halo/Halo lore channel. I make long Halo lore videos and also sort of general Halo videos about news and just like general discussions and stuff. And I'm also in the works of branching out to Doom and Resident Evil lore as well, and I'm going to be adding that into the mix with Halo. Of course, Halo will still be the main focus, but adding a bit of variety into there is always nice from both a viewer standpoint and creator standpoint, I think.
And he just did a really cool collab with the Act Man, so...
I did. That was a fun video to make. That was a very fun video to make.
So here we go. Will's got your first question. We're very excited to have you on for this conversation. We've been doing this with all the Halo YouTubers essentially, so definitely excited to do this again. 100%.
Yeah. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So.
All right. Question 1. What inspired you to start your YouTube channel?
Right, that is a good question. So way back in like early 2009, during like the heydays of Halo 3, I got into this thing called HLG, which stood for Hidden League Gaming. So basically what you'd do is you'd go into a game with a team, you'd all get the lead, and then you would hide, but like hiding wouldn't just be sitting in a corner. It would be like doing trick jumps to get like out the map or into a really ingenious spot. And what people used to do is they used to make like mini montages of games where they hide on people. And they'd like troll them. They'd make a montage of the game. They'd troll them while they're in the spot. They'd do loads of really fun stuff. It was really fun. And I was doing it for a while, and I was like, right, I want to make videos about this. This looks really cool. So I made a proper channel, which is HiddenXperia, and started making those videos. And it kind of just, I don't know, went from there really. My first few years of YouTube were pretty all over the place and not great really. It's quite easy to see why I didn't get anywhere. But the recent years have been quite the polar opposite, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, 376,000 subscribers. You're doing something right?
Can't knock it. Yeah, something's going right. I'm not quite sure what it is, but something.
So the second question is, what's your favorite content to create?
Ooh. That's a good question. I always like making really long lore videos because I love editing. Like video editing, I find is so addictive. So
Same.
I like just getting into a video with like where I've got like a very clear view of what I'm going to be doing with it, and just editing it away. I love doing that. I also love editing like collaborations. Like you were saying, that collab video that I did with Axeman, that was really fun to edit. We had some good fun recording it, writing it, and editing it. That was always fun. So I don't know. I enjoy making like pretty much every video that I make. There's no like one specific type that I love making more than another. News videos are always nice because they're a bit easier to edit. They're a bit like chill. So if I get like a news video, then it's just sort of like a pretty easy video to make that I know people will like. Doing those versus videos, like the one that I did last week, I think, about Chief versus Nemesis from Resident Evil. I love doing those because those videos have always been an avenue for me to sort of branch out a little bit, but also stay true with Halo. They're always fun. So, I mean, to answer your question, I love making all my videos. Quite honestly, they're all fun to make.
All right, let me rephrase this question a little bit. What's your favorite video that you made that got very little traction?
Oh, easily the Nemesis video. That Chief versus Nemesis video. I loved making that, and it did well, but nowhere near as well as I would have liked it to have done. I wish that video did well or did better. There's still time. I mean, last year I made a Flood versus T-Virus video that did really badly in the first week, and now it has like 320,000 views or something, I think. So those types of videos tend to be slow burners that over time do really well. So fingers crossed that one does. But that one was definitely the video that I enjoyed making the most, that got the least recognition. You hate to see it.
Yeah, well, at least those types of videos, like you said, they're basically evergreen. Like, you could go watch it today and it would still, like...
Yeah, it's still relevant.
It's not like you just said, the latest Halo Infinite news. Because after Halo Infinite comes out, pretty much those videos are dead, right?
Oh, yeah. No one's going to go back and watch Halo Infinite news like 2 years after the game comes out. See, that's why I like to mix and match a little bit with my content, because the lore stuff is evergreen. Like, it's always getting views. People are always interested in it. Whereas news tends to do better in the short term, but over like long term, it obviously, for obvious reasons, it doesn't do as well because it's never going to.
There's a reason we only cover news on Mondays.
Exactly. There you go. You guys know what you're doing.
Yep. Will, you got the next question?
All right. So next question. You probably have heard this question a lot. What is your favorite and least favorite Halo game?
Favorite? I can answer this in like a hot second. Favorite Halo 2, least favorite Halo 5. Easiest answer of my life. Do you want me to say why?
Break it down.
So Halo 2, everything about it. There's not a single thing about Halo 2 that I would ever change. The story, the gameplay. I even love the level design, the enemy design, encounters in the campaign, voice acting, art style, aesthetic, multiplayer, the maps, the gameplay, the button glitches, competitive scene, casual scene. I love it all. Halo 2 is the perfect Halo game for me. It's everything that I love about Halo put into one game, like one perfect amalgamation of everything that I love most about Halo 2. And the reason that I don't like Halo 5, again, where do we begin? I severely dislike the gameplay. I hate enhanceability personally. Not a fan of it. And Halo 5's gameplay to me just doesn't feel like Halo. Halo 5 as a game to me doesn't feel like Halo. Personally, to me, it doesn't feel or look or sound like Halo. Like I said, the gameplay is just weird. The campaign, I don't think we need to go into the campaign. I don't think we need to go into that one. The campaign, like even if you ignore the story, the campaign I don't think it's very fun to play either. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I just the one thing I will say about Halo 5 is that Forging customs are incredible. Like I would say objectively incredible. Like even somebody who dislikes Halo 5 as much as me can very happily acknowledge how good Halo 5's Forging customs are. That goes without saying. But other than that, I just can't. I don't like it at all. I really don't like it.
Honestly, when I played Halo 5 the first time, my thought process was, this is just Call of Duty skinned with Halo.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, adding ADS to a Halo game, like people joke.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh.
I would never forget when Halo 5's gameplay leaked for the first time. So I'm not sure if you remember, but the way they revealed Halo 5's gameplay was on MCC launch night. They did a pro game between two of the pro teams. I think it was Optic and Straight Rippin'. And it was pre-recorded. And a few hours before, somehow some of the gameplay leaked onto Reddit. And the footage was a guy running around on, like, literally sprinting and thrusting around on this massive remake of Midship, aiming down sights, down a red dot sight on the BR. And I vividly remember all the comments being like, "Oh, this is the fakest leak ever. The ADS in Halo, nah, this is ridiculous. This is the fakest leak ever." And then, like, not even 5 hours later, they play the show match, and everyone's sprinting around Midship, aiming down sights on a BR, clambering over walls. And I remember the collective sort of like sigh of just, "Oh, for God's sake," in the comments. And just being like, here we go again. For what it's worth, I will admit that when Halo 5 first came out, I was very honeymoon phased. I had a pretty big honeymoon phase with it. Like, even though most of before launch, I was not looking forward to the gameplay part of it, I got a really big honeymoon phase with it, and I really enjoyed it for like 5 or 6 months. But then as soon as the update started coming out, and as soon as I started to see the issues of that, I was like, hang on, this game's not right. Something is not right here. And I went back to my former opinions.
Yeah, I actually like the multiplayer now. I feel like the aiming down sight still is terrible, but I feel less people are using the enhanced abilities other than Clamor. But no one ever like does the ground pound anymore. No one like does the thruster pack and hits me anymore. So overall, it's a better experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, one thing I will say about the multiplayer is that shooting people and hitting them, like the whole process of actually shooting and being shot at in Halo 5, is satisfying. They got that right. I'll give them that. And the hit detection is really good in Halo 5 as well, like really good. But that's about as far as my praise for the multiplayer goes.
Yes.
I have to say, when I played the first level of the Halo 5 campaign, I actually turned my Xbox off in disbelief and didn't come back to it for like a week.
Yeah. Well, it's like Power Rangers running through that snowy field, you know? It's like, what is happening? And then they even have the scene where you see the first enemies you can kill, and then a freaking ship falls on them. Like, oh no.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They're stood right in front of you, and it's like, nope, we're just gonna kill him. Like, one of the things that Halo's campaigns, even the ones that I'm not a big fan of, like Reaches, that have always done, like Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, Reach, and 4, all did, was the first mission was like a gradual build-up. Like, at the start of every single one, there was like no enemies at the start, and then there was a slow build-up to when you get to the enemies, and then you encounter more and more enemies as the level goes on. Halo 5's first mission was just none of that. It was just like, right, there we go, all the enemies are there, all the weapons are there, there's no progression, there's no build-up, it's just all there, fight, go. Like, there was no progression or build up to anything. It was all just thrown in your face really aggressively, and I really don't like that at all.
Can I be like extremely honest about Halo real quick? For me, when I first played Halo, you know what I thought of? I thought of Metroid Prime from the original Metroid games, and that evolution where like you go from in Metroid, it's like same idea. You start off with like really easy enemies, and they don't throw a lot at you right away. And then as you move through it, they're harder and harder, and there's more of them. And I think Halo took that concept and made it even better in the first Halo game.
Yeah, I mean, the best example of that, I think, personally, is Sierra 117, the first mission of Halo 3. So the whole first minute, there's no enemies. You're just walking through a really atmospheric forest, and then you encounter like one brute and a few grunts, and then a few brutes and a few grunts, and then eventually you meet jackals, and then you don't even meet hunters until like... What is it? I think Crow's Nest. There are some hunters, maybe.
I think so.
That's the first time you meet hunters. Like, it's such a good gradual build-up. It eases you into it. And Halo 5 just like took that idea and threw it out the window, like completely. Like Halo 4's first mission was great. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the campaign in Halo 4, but the first mission was fantastic. Starts off really slow. You're figuring out what's happening. You see that first elite, and you're like, hang on, what's happened? And then you fight Grimace and elites, and then a few jackals. It's a nice build-up. It's a really nice build-up. It eases you into it, but not with Halo 5.
All right, I got the next question for you. And this is one I think you'll be interested in answering, much more than the last one. What is another game franchise that you love that you would consider or already are planning to cover on your channel?
Hey, already I'm planning. Yeah, so as you can see on the screen right now, Resident Evil. I love the lore of those games. I love the games, especially the recent ones. I mean, Resident Evil's sort of like comeback since the 2 remake has been spectacular. The future for Resident Evil is looking so bright. Like, all the Resident Evil 8 leaks look really good. There's a Resident Evil 4 remake coming out that could go either way. Like, if they do it properly, it will be incredible. If they change anything, then it will be not incredible, but we'll have to wait and see. And then the other game is Doom. Again, I mean, the Doom reboot has been, it goes without saying, incredible. 2016 and Eternal are fantastic games. The lore, the fleshed out lore in Eternal in particular, is so damn cool. Like, so cool. And I feel like it has a lot of similarities with Halo as well. Like, Doom and Halo in particular have a lot of crossover fans, I think. Because, I mean, the games are fairly similar in a way. So Doom and Resident Evil are the 2 that I've got on the cards for now. Definitely.
And Doom definitely doesn't take itself as seriously as Halo does.
Definitely not. Definitely. Everything's overpowered. Everything does loads of damage. Everything's crazy in Doom.
You got Master Chief, Doom guy.
I even did a video about that a few years ago with Rono Gaming, like who would win, Doom guy or Chief. And I remember the comments getting really annoyed because, to be quite honest, it's not even fair. Like, Doom guy would absolutely obliterate Chief. Doom guy could probably pick Chief up and just tear him in half. Quite honestly, like just shred him like that. So it's not even a comparison.
I remember the comment that I took to heart when I was thinking about Doom the other day. And jump on this if you want, but Aresh was like, when I play Doom and there's like an enemy waiting in a closet, it's like, no, this is a video game. This isn't a real world. Like, no enemy is going to be waiting in the closet to strike at me. Like, this is not a thing.
Yeah, a lot of very strange like video game setups happen.
So, Anyways, I just had to get that in there. Well, why don't you jump on that next one?
All right, so this might be a sort of a loaded question.
Okay.
All right, do you ever feel conflicted about being critical about Halo while also trying to have a positive relationship with people at 343?
Not at all. And that is one of the best things about 343, I think. I have been exceptionally critical of 343 over the years. Like really, really, really critical. I mean, I've said so many times that I really, really, really do not like 90% of their ideas for Halo. And yet still I'm friends with the guys at P43 because they realize that that's criticism, like that's constructive criticism. I don't obviously just say, oh, I don't like it. Like I say I don't like it, and then I give reasons why and how to change it. But like they're willing to take that to heart, and as we've seen from Infinite so far, from what little we've seen, they've taken it to heart and built on it. So I honestly have no issue with that at all. Not at all.
Good to hear. Yeah.
People seem to get this misconception that as soon as you're friends with people at a studio, or as soon as like you get recognized enough and start like doing stuff with them or being invited out to their studio, that you automatically just become like a shill. And it really isn't the case, because like I've been to 343 now 3 or 4 times, I think 4 times I've been to 343, and my opinions on their games, their ideas have never changed, and they more than likely never will do. I'm waiting, hopefully, fingers crossed, for Infinite to change them, but I mean, you never know. But no, I never feel conflicted, honestly. I never do.
That's great to hear, actually, yeah.
The guys, everyone that I know over at 343, they're all great. They're all very open to feedback, more so than they ever were before, and more so than probably any other dev out there, I'd say. They've never taken any issue with me criticizing their games, and I don't take any issue with them listening to it. So it's a good relationship, definitely.
Awesome.
I've gotten some advice in the past where somebody told me, like, you don't always have to like what somebody does to like the person.
Exactly.
Or respect their talent, because I mean,
yeah.
Halo 5 is objectively a fine game. It is not what I personally want in a Halo game.
Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people don't appreciate. Like, you can say you don't like something. Like, I personally despise Halo 5's art style, but it's absolutely fantastic art. Like, it's fantastically designed. It's incredible sci-fi work. I just personally don't like how it looks in Halo. I don't personally believe that it fits Halo, but like that doesn't say that it's not fantastic. Like, for example, the Halo 5 Elite design, which is like the epitome of what I don't like about Halo 5, is, as an alien, fantastic. Like, if that was a new species, that's great. It's like a barbaric warrior alien species thing. That's cool. It fits. It just doesn't fit an Elite. It's like Halo 5 is a game I would genuinely say it's a good game. I just don't think it's a good Halo game. That's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah.
Now, can I just stop you there? I love what 343 did with the Halo 2 Gravemind.
Oh yeah, it looks.
Oh, the anniversary graphics.
It's so impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not a flower anymore.
Yeah, the flappy green flower.
He's not a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just happened to see that as you're talking about how much 343's graphics are different, but that is impressive. I love what they did with Gravemind.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's see here. What game other than Halo are you most excited for coming to the Xbox Series X?
Ooh.
I would say potential game.
Yeah, or potentials.
Right now, Resident Evil 8, I'd say. Resident Evil 8, from all the leaks so far and rumors, sounds like incredible. I don't know if any of you guys are Resident Evil fans at all. But
Kind of.
So there was this beta or like alpha build of Resident Evil 4 way back in the day called Resident Evil 3.5 that ended up being quite different to the final build of Resident Evil 4. But people really like this beta build, and all the leaks so far have suggested that Resident Evil 8 is basically going to be a modernization of that alpha build with like all the features pretty much intact. So that sounds like incredible to me. I'm also looking forward to seeing what Kojima does next. I'm a massive Kojima fan. I mean, I'm even wearing a Kojima Studios shirt right now. That you can see. I'm a massive fan. I love Death Stranding, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Quite a few games I'm looking forward to, quite honestly. But I'd say number one is Resident Evil 8, definitely.
Are you a Left 4 Dead fan?
Yes, I am.
What if Valve said, all right, guys, We're gonna give it to you. Left 4 Dead 3.
Oh, dude. I mean, I forgot the name of. Is it Turtle Rock Studios? The guys who made it originally.
Yeah, they're making like what is it, Out for Blood or something like that.
Yeah, that's it, Out for Blood. I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be good. I'd be excited, but at the same time, I'd be cautious because it wouldn't be the original guys making it. That said, I'm not sure about the sort of background of Half-Life Alyx. I'm not sure if the same people who worked on like Half-Life 2 Part 2 and Half-Life 2 and 1 worked on Alyx, but clearly, whether they did or not, Alyx worked. It worked really well. So if Left 4 Dead ends up getting that treatment, then I will be over the moon. Absolutely.
I think Valve's that type of company that if they're gonna do something, like they're not gonna Half-Life it, instead of saying.
Yeah.
They're gonna put it all in, right? They're gonna lay it all on you. They're gonna give you everything that you asked for and more, which is probably why they scale back and don't do things as often as they used to, because they want to make sure they're putting out a quality product. So if they did Left 4 Dead 3, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is my Resident Evil experience, was the 7th one, and I played up to the point where she chainsaws my hand off, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, that section took me by massive surprise when I first played it. Like, I wasn't expecting to lose a hand at all, but I mean, it's Resident Evil. You can never truly expect what's coming.
I was just like, I would jump out the window at this point. This is ridiculous. I would not be in this building.
Yeah. Yeah, Resident Evil 7 was very good, though. It's very different, but very good.
And a lot of people have told me I just couldn't get past the chainsaw.
Fair enough.
Did you play the RE2 remake?
Yes, that was my favorite game of the decade.
Yeah?
That was my game of the decade.
Wow.
I love this so much. That game fully got me back into Resident Evil. I cannot put into words how much I love that game, honestly.
Are you a fan of like all the zombie video games then?
Yeah. Like Call of Duty Zombies, I've been a massive fan of, like the gameplay, the maps, and also the story since pretty much like day one of World at War. I remember back in like Verrückt Shinonuma times when they first came out, like April, June or July 2009. As early back as that, being like super into the story, because like it was Verrückt and Shinonuma where they started to sort of tease that there was a story there, and I've always been a massive fan of conspiracy theories. I've always been super interested in them, like not even believing them, just being like interested in reading them, and that is essentially what the early zombie storyline was, and God, that pulled me in so much.
I always liked what was the fourth map that came out? Because Nocturne Totem was the first one. Derice, yeah. That's the one you just said, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That one is really freaking good. Like you were saying, I got hooked on that too. My brother and I played that for hours.
Derice was something special. That was the map that properly revolutionized zombies. That map was incredible. Like easily top 3, if not top 1, I'd say.
Did you like Transit then?
Not at launch. At launch, Transit put me off zombies. I actually stopped playing BO2 because of Transit.
Oof.
But over time, I've grown to appreciate it. Because with Transit, you could see that the team wanted to do more than they could do, but they were limited by hardware. If the fog and the denizens weren't a thing, that map would have been really good. And if the bus mechanics would change a little bit as well.
The fog sucked.
Really, really good.
I hated
the fog was annoying. Like, imagine that map without fog. If it was like one big map where like you could walk into the fog, you'd go into like the wheat fields, into the forest, like with no denizens, you were free to explore the entire thing. Like that would be perfect. I mean, we can hope.
That'd be amazing. I would totally get that game again if they did that. Like Transit 2.0. Oh man. So
that's the dream.
I have to ask, since this is my favorite zombie game, Dead Rising.
I was just about to mention that.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to say I love Dead Rising. I love Dead Rising 1.
Yes.
And I love Dead Rising 2.
Yep.
Dead Rising 3 felt really unlike Dead Rising to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad game, but it just didn't feel like Dead Rising. And I mean, okay, I will say this, and I will genuinely mean it. Dead Rising 4 is the worst video game I've ever played. And more than likely it will be. That game was a flat-out abomination. They ruined the story, the gameplay. They almost ruined Dead Rising 1's story. Dude. Oh, no. Oh, you made me think about Dead Rising 4 again. Oh, no. But Dead Rising 1 and 2, 1 in particular, I absolutely love that game. I love it so much. I play it I replay it at least every year.
Did you get 7 Days Survivor?
Oh, I don't think I ever did. I tried. The last time I replayed it, I tried to go for it, but I never got it.
That's like an impossible achievement because you can't pause, or you can pause, but you can't move any time forward or whatever. I've tried to get that so many times, but I never have like 16 hours straight to just waste.
It's hard. A lot of those like overtime challenges in Dead Rising 1, the sort of secret ones, are really interesting because games don't do that anymore.
No.
Dead Rising 1 had like ending A through E or F, I think. There were like, what, 5, 6, 7 endings to that game?
They're all bad except one.
Well. Yeah, exactly. You either escape or you're dead. Like, there's no other ending.
And then there was they misspelled the achievement. It was the tour ending instead of the true ending.
Oh, is that what they?
Yeah, they misspelled the achievement for the best ending.
Oh no!
That's awesome.
So to see it.
When they re-released it on the Xbox One, they left that bad named achievement spelled wrong.
I mean, that's something that's ingrained in like meme history now. You can't change that. You got to leave it as is.
So that is like infamously the one game that I wanted to get full achievement on and never could because I could never get the 7-Day Survivor part done ever.
I'm not surprised. There's a lot of stuff in that game that you have to replay it like 3 or 4 times to get.
Oh yeah.
Because the remastered Xbox One version, I think I've played through that now like 3 times, and I mean I still don't have the Mega Man Blaster, and I've played through it like 3 times.
You know how to do it though, right?
Yeah, you get the truck and you go in the car park and you just drive up and down constantly.
All over. Just continue.
Yeah.
And you have to swap out the truck every like 5 minutes. So it's like every time the truck gets beat to, it's like, oh, I gotta go get another one. So you go into the slaughterhouse and then come back out and the truck's magically back again because that makes sense.
Oh yeah, because it resets for spawn.
You gotta respawn it. Yeah, you gotta respawn it. Yeah, you gotta get like 54,000 zombies in one playthrough. It's like, holy cow.
Yeah, so that's quite a lot. Quite a lot.
Since I got the Mega Man Blaster, I'm unwilling to replay the game. Like I'm just gonna keep doing the Mega Man Blaster anytime I play it now.
It's so fun with that. Like for example, I recently finished Resident Evil 3 remake like for the 5th or 6th time, and I got the Infinite Ammo rocket launcher, and I'm just waiting to do a run through with that, where it's like super scopy, it's everything so easy. It's like in Dead Rising with the Mega Man Blaster. Every boss is like a one shot.
Yep.
Like the convicts go from the worst boss in the game to the easiest one. You just one-shot them.
You just shoot the car. You don't have to shoot the convicts. It's like, pew, pew, pew. See ya.
So easy. So easy.
But then the Mega Man Blaster, so they do give it to you in the survival mode, but it's you can't like it doesn't regenerate. So like you have to be careful with how many shots you use throughout the game. Yeah, so it's like, okay, do I use this now or do I wait? Because you only got, I think it's like 99 shots. Like you don't use them on zombies at all. You switch to something else. I'm only using this on bosses.
Yeah.
I remember that was a game that was like really cool, but it didn't take itself too seriously, right? So you could have a lot of comical, and that's what I appreciated about it. And then you get to number 3, and I agree with you. It was a good game, but it wasn't a Dead Rising game. There wasn't enough comic mischief or relief.
Yeah. I feel like, so the Dead Rising 3 and 4 went too far both ways.
Yeah.
Like Dead Rising 3 took itself far too seriously, and then Dead Rising 4 just, it was trying to be a comedy. Like, Dead Rising 1 had like scenes of horror, like dark scenes. There was like conspiracies and stuff. Dead Rising 4 just tried to be some really lame comedy, and it was awful. Like, oh god, the way they brought Frank back in that was just it's bad. And then they recast him as well. Like, why? What are you doing, dude? Like, stop, please.
That was a huge controversy too, because the actor that originally voice acted him was willing to come back, and they just said, "Nope, we're okay."
Yeah,
it's like
I'm pretty sure didn't they like not even ask him? They just outright ignored him.
Well, because people were tweeting at him like crazy, like, "Hey, why aren't you doing this?" He was like, "Wait, they're making Dead Rising 4?" Like, what?
I couldn't imagine doing that. Like, it's Frank West. How can you recast Frank West?
Like, obviously, the Steve Downes is far more iconic, but can you imagine if they just recasted Master Chief? Like, we'll just use somebody else. Like, what?
That would be hell to pay if that ever happened.
Right? Like, Frank West. Like, why would you do that? The guy still exists that played him. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was still an actor as well. He still wanted to do it. Like, he actively wanted to do it, and he, for some reason, didn't pick him up.
I never understood that. They should just have Luke do it. No.
No, never let me near Frank West. Never let me near Frank West.
If you could voice act anybody, who would you voice act?
Ooh, that's a good question. Fun fact: I actually the career that I'd go into if anything ever happened to YouTube would be acting. That's probably what I'd end up doing if YouTube ever went anywhere. So this is a good question. I mean, I'd never do it because there are too many iconic names tied to it. But I'd love to do Leon Kennedy. But at the same time, there's so many like iconic voice actors tied to Leon. You can't not have them do it. I don't know. That's a good question. I think I'd like to do my own like original character as opposed to recasting somebody, because I feel like when you recast somebody, especially somebody who's like quite well known and iconic, it's never right, no matter how good the voice actor is. Like the biggest example for that, for me, is recasting David Hayter with Kiefer Sutherland as Big Boss and as Snake, Big Boss in MGS5.
Oh yeah.
Like I love Kiefer Sutherland. He's a fantastic actor, but he's not Snake. That's not Snake. Like David Hayter is Snake. There's no two ways around it. You don't recast David Hayter. But they did. So
all right, so let me rephrase the question. If you could have an original character in any series of games, what would it be? Or it's game or movies. What would you be? What series would it be? And what would your character be?
I don't know. I love zombies, so I'd love to play somebody in a Resident Evil TV show or something. There's rumors there's rumors that we're getting a Resident Evil Netflix show, like a Netflix original. So
like animated or with people.
The rumors were live action, and fingers crossed, it's nothing to do with either Wes Anderson or Mila Jovovich. Please, no, yes. no, please. That's another topic for another day. Yeah, I'd love to play like a survivor or something in a Resident Evil or any zombie thing. I mean, a Marine or ODST in Halo would be sick as well. I mean, that goes without saying. That would be dope. Or a Spartan. I don't know. That is a good question. I've never really thought about that. I'd say a Marine ODST or a Spartan in Halo, or a survivor, quite an adept survivor in a zombie or specifically Resident Evil live action thing.
Would you want to make it to the end of the show / movie, or would you want to have a really cool death?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, because both would be sick. Going down in like a blaze of glory, like having like a super honorable death where like you sacrifice yourself to save another main character would be sick. But at the same time, surviving to the end and having people be like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you back in season 2," would be sick as well. So that's a question that I can't answer.
So would you want to die off screen then?
Oh no, hell no! Definitely. I've got to go down on the screen in glory, in absolute glory. I've got to have a good death.
If you die off screen, you can come back.
True. I could come back technically as a zombie. There is always that.
You'd be like, just do the Walter White method, right? Just go down in a hail of gunfire and meth.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Pop the trunk in a car and just lie down and wait for it to come.
Anyway, I think we're back on our questions. Will, you got the next one, I think? Or is it? Yeah, it's you. Yeah. You're next.
Yep. All right. So you occasionally cover leaks. How long do you sit on a leak before you post a video on it? And also, how do you gauge like the validity of that leak?
That's interesting. So I can normally sort of tell if a leak is in the region of legit or in the region of fake quite quickly. Like, especially recently, I'm sure you guys have seen a load of these infinite leaks in very big air quotes that are just the fakest things on planet Earth. Like, there was one the other day that people were actually kind of believing that baffled me. It was like, Chief goes back to Eridanus 2, meets his dying mother, and then sends Cortana back in time to speak to, like, the original, like, Cortana when she was made. No, that's so clearly fake. I think it goes without saying that's fake. I normally don't sit on a leak because I can sort of gauge. I mean, obviously you never know if it's legit or not until you get confirmation. But I can sort of gauge if it's in the realm of legitness, like quite quickly. Like if it's not too outlandish, if it links up or sort of synergizes with things that we've heard before. Like for example, the leak that you're showing on the screen right now, that was backed up by several other leakers. So I do personally think that one's legit. that was backed up by a few of the leakers. So if the leak is corroborated by other people, specifically prominent leakers, like there's quite a few prominent people that talk about, like Brad Sams, for example, he leaks a lot of Xbox and like Microsoft stuff. So yeah, I'll look for like corroborations. I'll get a sort of 6% kind of if it's fake though, because I mean 9 times out of 10, if it comes from 4chan, it's fake. It's some dude making up his fan fiction and trying to get people to believe it. And again, there were those pictures the other day, those leaked Infinite gameplay pictures that were literally using a PNG that Bungie released for Halo 3 marketing. Like, it was so obvious that it was fake, and people were like, "Oh, this might be real. Oh my god, this is probably real." Like, no, like there's literally a straight up PNG from that Bungie released as part of Halo 3's marketing. But yeah, to answer the question and not go off track again, I don't tend to sit on them for that long unless, for example, like those Mega Bloks Brute leaks of the day, I've had to sit on that because Mega were like trying to get people to pull the pictures and delete them who were sharing them. Okay. And if they're doing that, that tends to mean they're willing to copyright strike your channel, which I obviously don't want. Right. So I sit on that. If there's anything like that, I'll sit on it until it's safe to release it, until like we're sure that we won't get any copyright strikes. Okay. And yeah, as for the validity, I mean, you can never be sure, but I feel like most leaks, you can tell if they're very clearly fake or possibly real. Like immediately, I feel like most people can tell straight away if a leak is maybe true or in the realm of possibility, or if it's just outlandish and just some guy making up his fan fiction.
I actually didn't believe the fact that the Didact was dead in a comic until like somebody pointed out to me, like, no, that's real. I was like,
I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
I was like, come on, seriously, like this is stupid. Like, why would?
Yep, agreed.
That was awful. I'm still baffled that not only in the very same like 4 or 3 issue story arc did they kill the Didact off or contain him in a comic, despite using a composer, despite the fact that it was made very clear that he can't be composed. But they also just brought Black Team back that everyone was looking for after Bloodline, I think it was. Like, they brought Black Team back after like 7 years, and then, oh, yeah, just kill him. Just like that. Oh, dead. Just dead. There you go, Black Team gone, never coming back. Like, okay, right. That's a thing that happened.
I have to say, it was really funny, specifically that scenario, because I brought it up with, I think it was Halo Cannon, and he goes, that was why I created my channel, because Halo Follower said that they were wondering if Didact would come back, but clearly 343 said that Didact was going to be in all 3 of the games. Everybody knew that, and Halo Follower got it wrong, but then, of course, we found out later that wasn't true. But
so technically, Halo Follower ended up getting it right. You never know.
It
back when he was Halo 4 Follower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, God, back in those days.
Obviously, you had a completely different reason for starting your channel, being that you had the Hidden League gaming thing going on. But
yeah, quite different.
You know what? Now I'm thinking about this. But why Xperia?
So I get asked that quite a lot. The Hidden is obviously HOG.
That makes sense.
Xperia, my voice is going. Xperia is literally a random word that I picked out of thin air. I didn't even know that it was a phone when I made that. I literally just, I was like, I think I was 12 or 13 at the time, and I literally just thought of a random word that sounded cool and just picked it out of thin air, and I was like, right, that sounds cool, there it is. So I always get asked the question, oh, did you base your name off a phone? I was like, nope, never owned a Sony Xperia phone, and at the time of making that name, I had no idea they even existed.
So here's the next question. Has Sony ever reached out to you and said, hey, dude, this is a trademark name or something like that?
Not yet. I'm sure that's going to happen at some day. I do think that could happen at some point. Quite honestly, like if I ended up getting big enough and end up selling enough merch that specifically said Xperia, I don't know. I could maybe see them. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I could ever make that much of a splash in the pond to get them to notice me. But if they did, then maybe. I don't know if they've copyrighted the word Xperia or like the phone, like
phone
use
branding.
Of Xperia. But yeah, the phone branding of Xperia. I'm not sure, but I really hope they haven't copyrighted the word. Otherwise, I'm screwed.
They're like, hey, by the way, we're going to use your branding on our phones now. No.
Whoa, okay, you're going to pay me a lot of money for that. Go ahead. Get the check.
You're also going to have to pay Microsoft. No.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh man, it's such a funny. Like when I first heard about your channel, I was like, wait, this guy uses a Sony name, but he's doing Microsoft games. Wait, where are we at in the world right now? Like, is this a different timeline? Where am I?
Yeah, very strange times. Very strange times.
Oh man. All right. So the next question. What are some of the biggest faults and strengths of the Bungie era games?
Ooh, okay. Strengths, I would say how they handled the narrative. The narrative was simultaneously deep and shallow, so it was fantastic for new people to get into it and understand it on a surface level. Like on a surface level, it was green cyborg kills aliens, saves planet, saves universe, and end of game. But like, especially in Halo 2 and Halo 3, when you look beneath the surface and like you read the terminals, you look at Easter eggs, like you really listen to the dialogue, you start to realize that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, like a lot more. Like for example, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Mendicant Bias was actually in Halo 2. Like Cortana specifically talks about him in Halo 2. So at the start of High Charity, the mission, Cortana says that she's trying to like she's trying to stop the Truth from launching the key ship and going to Earth, but she keeps saying that there's a foreign presence inside the ship fighting back.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's Mendicant Bias.
Oh. Huh. Oh, you know what? Isn't it in like in a terminal or something as well? Like in the Halo CEA or Halo C or Halo 2 Anniversary?
In Halo 2 Anniversary, they show in the terminals. They show when the Prophets first activated him by putting a like Gola worm into the thing and activating it because they can interface with foreign attack. But they never showed him in actual Halo 2. They only referenced. And then obviously in Halo 3, in the terminals, they like really fleshed him out. They added the Didact and the Librarian and Offensive Bias and all the other characters, the Primordial, all that stuff. But the best thing about the narrative was that, like I said, it was shallow and deep at the same time, which is something that I think Halo 343's stories kind of lacked. Another thing I love about Bungie's games is just the gameplay. Aside from Reach, I hate Reach's gameplay, but that doesn't count. For a second, we're going to forget that Reach exists. Halo 1, 2, and 3 and ODST had fantastic gameplay, nice and simple. Again, simple, but also deep. Simple on a surface level, but also like trick jumps, button glitches. Learning the layouts of maps and stuff was a lot deeper, and it was like a low skill floor, but a high skill ceiling. So anyone can get into it, but also anyone could master it.
Yeah.
And also their maps were just like fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
The Scarab gun exists.
And the Scarab gun exists. That is a thing as well. The Scarab gun is a thing that exists as well.
I spent days trying to get that freaking thing. I've never been able to do it.
I never got it until like I think 2012. I finally got it on Vista, on the Vista build, but I never got it on OG Xbox. I tried for so long to do the Banshee thing, where you get the Banshee into the tunnel, and I just couldn't do it. As to the weaknesses, I mean there are weaknesses. I think I'd say for that probably netcode, but that was it. I'm not going to take all the blame away from Bungie, but that was partly an aspect of the time that the game was released. Like game servers back in like 2007, for example, with Halo 3, were a lot worse than like nowadays. But that said, I mean, Halo 3's hit detection online is, to put it lightly, not good. To put it very lightly, not good, even on the best of connections. Which is a shame, because on LAN, it feels really nice, but online it just doesn't. So I'd say probably netcode.
Okay.
I can't really think of anything else. There definitely are other things. The games aren't perfect by any means. But yeah, that's honestly all I can really come up with, I think.
You know what the best thing about Halo 2 was?
Go on.
Triple needlers.
Oh god, yeah, when you dual wield and have one in your back pocket.
Thank God somebody else knows about this, because every time I brought this up, they're like, "What? What's triple needling?"
Oh yeah, I remember that. I used to do that. I used to do that with like, all the dual wield weapons. Where you'd like have a regular weapon and then another one, then you swap it, and then you get the other one out, and then stop it for another one, and you have three.
Yep. You get. I think you get triple SMGs, right?
You could do it with anything. I think any of the dual.
But the triple needler was the most hilarious because you just got pink needles flying out of your crotch.
That's true.
It brings a whole new meaning to the term needle. No, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm in a weird mood today, guys. All right, well, what's your next question?
All right, so this next question is pretty similar. It's the strengths and the weaknesses of the 343 era games.
And you can't talk about running again. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, obvious things for me are gameplay. Halo 4 just continued to reach its gameplay, which I really didn't like. And it made sprint a universal thing, which I liked even less. And then Halo 5 comes in and I mean, I don't need to mention that. I've already made my point. It's not very clear. Halo 4 and 5's art style, really don't like them personally. Doesn't feel like Halo to me. The narratives, although I love Halo 4's narrative, it's nowhere near as good as the original trilogy narrative in terms of bringing in casual fans. It was very much. I mean, I don't agree with what people say that you had to read books to understand Halo 4. You didn't. What I do think is that you had to read books to properly understand Halo 4. Like you could understand Halo 4 at a very surface level without reading the books, but it does it a massive disservice if you don't. And I feel like that's a negative because you shouldn't have to do homework to properly really appreciate a story. I don't think, at least. Like, again, one of the best things about Bungie's games were the fact that they were on the surface quite shallow, but they were when you looked into the campaigns themselves and really looked at like the dialogue, the Easter eggs, the terminals, and all that stuff, they were deep. Whereas with 343's games, you kind of need to read the books to properly understand them on a deep level. Like Halo 4's terminals, as great as they are, I don't think that a casual fan would have any clue what's going on in them if they haven't read the Fallen trilogy, because those terminals are essentially like a summarized version of that trilogy. But you have to understand the trilogy to understand them, kind of. I'm sure many people disagree with that, and fair enough, but I don't like that personally. One thing I do love about P43's games, specifically Halo 5 onwards, or Halo MCC onwards, is how they've gone back to esports. Like Halo, I've been a massive Halo esports fan for 10-ish years now. And what Halo Reach and more so Halo 4 did to the competitive scene visibly, like physically hurt to watch. Like Halo went from being the pioneer of console esports to nothing.
But
then
fair statement.
But then people like Tashi and a lot of the other people on the esports team came into 343, made HCS, brought it back up, and got it back up to a good state. And I'm very grateful for that. Very grateful. Another thing that I love about people these games, or not really the games, more so the studio, is how they interact with people and how communicative and open to feedback they are from the community. I mentioned this earlier, but you really don't get that with many, if any, studios nowadays. 343 really are an exception with that. The fact that I can tag a 343 person on Twitter and have a conversation about something just like that is, I think we take that for granted quite a lot, because that is something that I remember, for example, the zombies community during BO4, when the zombies was like flatlining. The maps were awful. The game mode was a mess. It was broken. It was a mess. Like, it was MCC levels of a mess, and there was no way for them to like even provide feedback to Treyarch. No one was on Twitter responding to them. There was none of that. Whereas with 343, I can tweet someone right now and get a reply in 5 minutes, which is something that a lot of people take for granted, I think. Like, not like, I'm not saying that like to attack anyone, but I think it's something that we all passively take for granted because we don't realize how rare that is in the gaming community. So that's something that's more directed at 343 and not the games, but it's a massive strength, I think.
I think that because 343 is like that, it's funny that this is like, because they do that, it feels like a lot of the Halo YouTubers and the people that cover Halo, like even the authors across the entire of the Halo community online is very open like that, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I think that starts with them.
I casually had a conversation with Troy Denning the other day on Twitter. Like, the author of like some of the best Halo books ever made. You can't just do that in like any other community apart from Halo's. So that is a huge thing, definitely.
And like I said, I think that starts with the developer. Like when the developer is like that, people in the community are going to respond the same way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember when they had one of their, the posts that they have on their website, they actually linked one of Halo Canon's videos, and like instead of like having their entire own lore post, they just said like watch Halo Canon's video. I was like, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, they do that a lot. They've done that with my videos quite a lot, and also Innovation 00's videos a lot as well, and also like a lot of other people. They're so interactive. And it's great. That's so good. That is. If you were to ask me the best thing about P43, it would easily, not even the shadow of a doubt, be that.
So the next question, and we've asked this to everybody else, so definitely looking forward to your answer. What are you most looking forward to with Halo Infinite?
Ooh, story. I think. I'm curious to see how they resolve Halo 5's just god awful story.
They're gonna kill Cortana in the very first mission in the cutscene.
Oh God!
No. They're gonna release the Cortana comic where a virus takes her out.
Please no. Yeah, the story I'm looking forward to a lot, and also just the return to form. I mean, right now, again, from what little we've seen about Infinite, what we have seen indicates a very strong return to form. And like a lot of the complaints that we've had about Halo have seemingly been addressed and directly addressed, in fact. I mean, I've had conversations before when I've been at P43 with Spar, the guy who like is the head of the art for Halo. And he's been so open. Like he told me last time I was there, like how excited he is to like keep on working on this new aesthetic and to see how people react to it. So I think, I think a mixture of story and the aesthetic. I'm worried about the gameplay. Very, very worried about the gameplay. But I don't know. Can't really say much about that until we see anything, whenever the hell that's going to be.
Right.
Time's ticking, P43.
Yep.
There you go. But Will's got the next question.
Oh, you pretty much answered it. I was going to ask, like, what are you most nervous about? But it seems like it's gameplay.
All right, well, then ask the first half of the next question.
I mean, the first half. There's only one half.
There's two parts to the next question? No. The question I'm supposed to ask him.
You ask the question, because I don't see what you're talking about.
There's two questions here. What are some of your favorite Halo and non-Halo? So the first question is, what are some of your favorite Halo YouTubers?
Okay. Halo Canon, Installation 00, Late Night Gaming, Axeman, if you want to class him as a Halo YouTuber, he's not really a Halo YouTuber anymore.
He's branched out.
Good. Yeah, he's branched out. Spearhead's great. Fletch is great. Nick, me and Nick are really good friends. Honestly, it's a bit biased, but like all my friends, because I'm friends with like 99% of Halo, of like most of the Halo YouTubers, and I say they all make great content, honestly, and I'm not just saying that. They do make great content. But yeah, the ones I listed, I'm sure I've missed a few out, and if I have, I'm sorry. There's a lot of Halo YouTubers to remember, but those guys in particular, like, they make great content.
Well, how about that explosive video by Same Token? The entire history of Halo so far.
Yeah, that was a good video.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Token actually used to be on Halo Follower years ago, and then he left when things happened. And then I'm happy to see he's come back, though, because a few years ago, when he'd left, me and him were going to make a video. I think like 2016, I spoke to him briefly about collabing, and we never got around to it, but his stuff is really, really good. His commentary is like chef's kiss. Absolute chef's kiss. His commentary is so good.
All right, so the next question, what are some of your favorite non-Halo YouTubers?
Okay, so I love Roanoke Gaming. Again, me and him are really good friends, so...
Yeah, I like him too.
Roanoke, Eckhart's Ladder, WoW Search Gaming, he's great as well. Varty Vidya, who does Dark Souls stuff, or like Soulsborne stuff, his videos are incredible. A lot of the Zombies guys, like me, Mr. Ruffle Waffles, I'm good friends with him now. But his videos were like his videos were like the main inspiration for my early lore videos. Fun little fact there. He's great. Mr. T Lexify is great. I also love Internet Historian. I mean,
Oh yeah.
who doesn't? Videos are like absolutely hilarious. I love I like food challenge videos as well, like food challenge YouTubers. So I like Randy Santel's great. Beard Meats Food is great. I have a very broad spectrum of interest, right? So just brace yourself. I smoke food a lot. Like I barbecue a lot. So I watch a lot of barbecue YouTubers, like notably a guy called How to Barbecue Right, who is like he's fantastic. He's great. I watch a lot of him. I'm trying to think who else. Oh yeah. I used to watch a lot of Filthy Frank back when Filthy Frank was Filthy Frank. Like him, Max Mofo, iDubbbz, those guys are hilarious. I used to watch a lot of H3 as well, not so much anymore. I don't personally think he's as funny as he used to be. Like his early stuff, Ethan's early stuff was, Jesus Christ, I don't think I've ever laughed as much at a video as I have some of that. Jeez, dude. Yeah, their stuff is great.
And they did something really important for the law. They went after the what was it, the my brain's not working. Fair use. They did the fair use court case that really laid the groundwork for Google and YouTube and all that. So
yes, that's true. That was revolutionary.
Agreed.
I'm trying to think. There's definitely more. I always think whenever anybody asks me that question, I immediately think like, oh, I don't watch that many YouTubers.
And then you realize.
Yeah. Then I start listening to them. I'm like, hang on, I watch a lot of YouTubers, like a lot.
Albino Black Sheep.
Oh, Racevic as well, and Chris Reagan.
Yeah.
Chris Reagan.
Ray and Chris, I'm good friends with both of them. And Favin as well. Favin, like when he does upload, I know he's got a really busy schedule, but when he does upload, he is like extremely intelligent when it comes to game design. Those two guys, yeah, I'm really good friends with all three of those guys, and I love their content. There's definitely more. I'm definitely forgetting some. Yeah, that's all I can think of on the top of my head. And Game Cheat as well. Game Cheat when Game Cheat uploads, he does good stuff as well.
Have you ever, you know, a lot of YouTubers when they get really big, they consider doing a music thing. Have you ever thought about doing?
Oh right,
music?
A few years ago, another one, the Reachway Taquin, also another great YouTuber. So a few years ago, there was an incident where Halo followers stole some of my videos and quite a lot of the content in the videos as well. And this was just when iDubbbz had released that Rice Gum diss track. It's like a 50. Me and Taquin were gonna make a diss track about Halo followers, like a joke. We never did it. Thank God we never did it. Good Lord.
That'd have been awesome though.
I'm happy we never did it. I mean, it was only meant as a joke. It wasn't obviously meant to be anything serious. It was just like it was at the height of when every man and his mother was making a diss track about somebody, and we were gonna make something, but thank God it never formulated. The plan never formulated.
Hey, it could have been really good for you. Look at some. I mean, shoot.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But I mean, when you think, like, the weirdest thing to me is that the #1 YouTuber on YouTube, his diss track is his #1 video now.
Oh, really? Is that PewDiePie?
Yeah, his #1 video, I think, is his lasagna video.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's #1. Shortly followed behind by his YouTube Rewind 2018 or something. One of those two. I don't know.
The one where they didn't invite him and he made a video.
Yeah, he made his own.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good.
But it's like that's crazy that him, and that's not even his content, is his #1 video as a diss track. It's like, really? Yeah, that's great. That's what I'm saying. It could have been interesting, you know. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that didn't happen.
Oh man. I did have one more question for you. So I don't know if you've watched a lot of our content, but did you have any tips for us?
I think your audio quality and everything, like your whole setup, is good. I like how you have like actual moving things on the screen. I'm trying to think. Maybe go into editing a little bit. So like maybe, I don't know, because the way you do it already is pretty good. Maybe get some like proper professional graphics done in like the style of your current one. So like the same color scheme, logo and everything, but like have it look super like I don't know, like professional made, if you get me. learn Photoshop for thumbnails. Even though Keemstar uses what's it called, Paint. Trust me, I used to use Paint as well, so I know how you feel. Learn Photoshop, and you'll never go back. You'll never go. Your audio quality and everything's really good. Video quality is really good. The way you have everything laid out on the screen is really good. It's honestly quite a different way of doing a podcast, but I like it. It's unique. I'd say it's pretty unique.
That's what I was going for, and we accidentally fell into it.
I'll take that unique as a compliment.
Yeah, oh no, definitely. The last thing you want to be on YouTube is the same as somebody else. That you're not going to get anywhere if you're trying to copy somebody else. Like, being unique is the best thing, like, humanly possible for YouTube. Definitely.
I'm glad you think that it's unique, though, because that is something that I struggled with in the beginning, trying to figure out how you could have because there's so many podcasts out there.
Yeah.
So I struggled with how to be unique.
Yeah, being unique is the biggest thing, I think. Also, I love the logo. I love the shrimp. The logo's great.
Do you know where that comes from? Do you know where that comes from?
Where's that?
So when we were originally talking about doing this, because Will and I spent like a good year trying to come up with how we were going to do a YouTube, because we were like, oh, we could do this or that or this, that. The podcast thing was like in the background. We never even thought about doing it initially. And I was like, okay, so what are we going to name ourselves? And he was like, like, we don't really have any like cool names. We're like generics. We're Chris and Will. Like, those are not unique names. And I was just sitting like thinking one day, and I was like, what if we just like shoved our names together somehow? And I was like thinking, okay, so we could be Waris. Nope, that's weird. That's like a walrus, but like
Waris.
It's like, that's not right. So I flipped it around because obviously I put myself first all the time. But
yes, it does.
So I was like, okay, CHR, and then I was like, what about so IL is a krill? Wait, that's like a shrimp. And I was like, just put that together, CHRILLCAST. All right, boom, we got a name.
It works. It works, and the logo is so good. I love the logo.
Well, thank you.
The logo and the branding is so sick.
I made that logo, by the way.
Yes,
nice.
Build a krill.
Build a krill.
Build a krill.
Oh man. Well, so is there anything else that you want to ask, Mr. Luke down in the bottom corner?
So what is the deal with Halo 4 follower or Halo follower? Like everyone we talk about brings up the same story. It's like, but I never asked anyone what it is.
Yeah, some stuff went down. You could say that.
Let's just put it this way: if anybody ever has a team, this is my advice for anybody who has a team: don't betray your friends or your team. It will come back to haunt you. It just might not hit you today. It'll hit you later.
It'll happen at some point.
Yeah, never ever become. I don't know if the right word is selfish or like an ego, right? Like, I will never betray you.
Watch out, man.
If one of you betrays the other, you can't have it be called the CHRILLCAST anymore, and that means you can't have the shrimp. So,
you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
do it for the shrimp.
Do it for the shrimp. Exactly. Do it for the shrimp.
That's okay. I got Billy. It'll be the CHRILLCAST.
I know. Chris already has a replacement for me.
We got an alternate for Will in case Will can't do a weekend. But
oh my gosh.
He's like the unofficial third member.
What's his name?
Billy.
Billy.
Also a Will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go then.
Don't give him ideas. I cannot be replaced.
No, you can't be replaced, Will. It's all good. All right. So the last question. I have one more for you. I promise. This is the last one. Would you be willing to do a like biology evolution of flood episode with Will?
Oh,
what, over here?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I feel like I pretty much know most of the flood like the back of my hand now. I'm making videos about them now for like 4 years, so I feel like I can pretty much rattle
made
most
some
of it
flood
off.
videos? What?
Yeah, I think I might have made one or two a few years ago. Not many though.
I'm just curious. Like, so I know you've done a ton of flood. That was not the premise. Was like comparing the flood to like, I don't know, fungi in the like from the biological sense that Will has.
If I was going to say, if Will knows about the biological stuff, then I probably could do. But let me put it this way: biology was not my strong suit in school, and I made the grave mistake of doing it for a lot longer than I should have done, and it was not my strong suit. But if Will knows about the biology of fungi and stuff, then I can happily add the flood stuff in with pleasure.
Yep. I'm a PhD in biology. That's why Chris is bringing this up. He's always trying to
nice.
make me do like the biology of Halo. So
Wait, so should it technically be the Dr. CHRILLCAST?
yeah, yes.
There you go. That's a name upgrade for you, the Dr. CHRILLCAST.
Dr. Krill. We're gonna start doing
Dr. Krill.
Dr. Phil style videos. No.
Yes.
But no, that could be interesting.
When did you start having dreams about shrimp? Please tell me about your issues.
It was about the time that I got replaced with the other Will. And I've not been able to look at shrimp the same way since.
Oh man. Before I die of laughter. Do you have anything else, Will?
No, I think that covers it, man.
Okay. All right. As always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm HiddenXperia.
Also known as Luke. And we will see
Also known
you.
as-
And we will see you
On the next CHRILLCAST. You start laughing.